Real Estate Talk discusses the ins and outs of our local housing industry. Sponsored by Keller Williams, Spokane.
Hi, welcome to Real Estate Talks. I'm Tanya Tyler with Keller Williams. So many different choices for real estate brokerages. Which one do you choose? Well, I've got two amazing experts here, also real estate agents, Rick Flann and Ken Sachs, to give us their inside tips on really why Keller Williams. Rick, we're going to start with you.
Yeah, well, Tanya, thanks for taking the time to interview us today. And really, I actually haven't sold a house in about a year and a half. So right now, I have stepped away from the transactional side of real estate. And so I help run the Keller Williams brokerage in Spokane and get to work with this guy, Ken Sachs, our designated broker. So I'm introducing you, Ken. But you know,
that was a throw intro to
that
you.
was good transition.
Thank you, Ken.
Yeah. Is it my turn?
It is your turn. Go ahead and give us a little brief info on
Sure. So Ken Sachs, been in real estate about 25, 26 years. Was a commercial broker for 12 years in California. Came up here, I came up here to get out of real estate.
Oh, well, perfect. I'm glad you did. That's perfect.
It didn't work well. And then was hired on by another firm. I was their sales manager, managing broker. And then I joined Keller Williams years ago. I'm a state instructor. And as Rick said, I'm the designated broker for Keller Williams, which really just means I'm on the hook for all the real estate practices that our agents are doing.
Yeah, you do. Both of you do a really amazing job. There are so many intricate pieces. I'd like to say there's a lot of moving pieces in real estate, and you guys are kind of the ones that are helping collect for us as agents, helping us make sure everything goes really smooth.
I always tell brokers my job is to keep you out of realtor jail.
Oh, good.
Yeah. You're welcome.
We like that.
We do. We do.
So like I said, there's so many different choices for brokerages. I mean, we do have some amazing brokerages out there.
Absolutely.
And so you didn't start off, Rick, in Keller Williams. You started off somewhere else. So why did you jump to this? I mean, what kind of opened that door to Keller Williams? Why Keller Williams?
Yeah, good question. And I get that on a fairly regular basis in the role that I'm in now. And, you know, when I started, I had the privilege of working with an agent in Spokane who's been in the business for a very long time. And he helped me learn how to be a very good realtor, not because I'm such a smart guy, but because he was so willing to invest into me. And what I found was that in that environment, it was kind of just run, and answer your phone all the time. And I found that I sold a lot of houses, but I was getting real stressed and real tired and didn't see my family very much. And so after a couple of years, after I kind of learned the fundamentals of the business, I started thinking, how can I survive more than a few years in it? And so I started just sort of peeking around at different options. And like you said, there's a lot of great brokerages out there. What really attracted me to Keller Williams was that it's built around models and systems and tools and a mentality that's around you're far more than just in transactional sales. You're actually a business owner, operator, and really the sky's the limit in terms of what that can look like. And there's actually a game plan to do that, which then solved my pain point of time. So that was a huge value add for me and taking the next step into my business. And so grateful for my opportunity that I had where I started out in my business.
So taking that time back into your life gave you time to be with your family.
Mm-hmm.
And like a balance of life. I mean, this industry is so amazing. We'd like to say this industry stops at 5 and it doesn't, you know. We're answering our phone. I mean, every agent probably does the same. You answer your phone at 9 o'clock at night sometimes, or text messaging or whatever. And you're waking up 4 o'clock doing the same thing. So you get time.
Yeah. And what I would say with that is we teach people how to treat us. And so learning in this environment where instead of just I'm always available, I am here to serve you as my client. Well, what happens is yes, but there's actually different ways to serve people. And by establishing parameters, you actually serve people at a higher level. And so that idea of in the beginning of that relationship with a transaction saying, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm going to commit to you that I'll be with you 100%. When we're looking at houses or I'm doing an open house, I am 100% there. But that also, and you know, do you appreciate that? Oh yeah, that's great, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Well, here's the other part of it is when I'm with my family at 8 o'clock and beyond at night, I'm not going to answer my phone. but I commit to you, I'll be in connection with you by 9 o'clock the next morning, right? And there's, of course, times where you're looking at multiple offers, and so that's not a hard and fast rule.
But it's a boundary.
It's a boundary, and being in an environment where you can script around that creates a freedom and actually a confidence potentially with your client of, oh, wow, my agent's in control. They know what they're doing, and they've still got my back. And I know when they're with me, it's 100%. So that's just maybe one example of what I've really appreciated about the environment that I'm currently in and get to help others with.
I like it. Ken, so let's talk. You were in another state, and you didn't start off in Keller Williams when you entered into Washington, into Spokane, correct? You were at another brokerage.
Right. I was at another brokerage, and this whole, brokers is so easy to just get sucked in where you're totally consumed by, running around and chasing carrots consistently. And when I was a commercial broker, it was the same way. In fact, it was my now wife, when she came into my life in California, she's like, you're a nut. Like, you don't stop. And you don't realize it because you're in the middle of it. That's just how you are. So then, I came up to Spokane, Washington, hired on, as I said, by another firm. And, it's funny because moving over to Keller Williams, all these brokers all over the country, independent business owner. And you look at them and how they run their business, they're doing everything. They're the paperwork, the calls, they're going to inspections. They're doing everything. They have no downtime. And I was talking to one broker a couple years ago from another firm. Great guy, great broker. And I asked, would you ever go on vacation? Well, yeah, Ken. I take 2 weeks every year, and I go to Priest Lake, which is an area where you don't have really good cell reception. And I said, okay, so if I asked your wife, who I also know as wife, if you go on break, would she say yes, or are you out there looking for a cell signal because you have calls to return? And he's out there looking for a cell signal. So you're not turning your phone off. Are you really a business owner? If you're doing everything, if you're a business owner, turn your phone off. Go to Hawaii for a month. What happens to your business? If it dies, I'm sorry, you're not a business owner. Because a business owner, think of the last restaurant you went to for dinner.
Okay.
Did the person who greeted you, were they also the person who took your order, who cooked your food, who made your drinks, who delivered your drinks, who collected your money, who balanced the books, who made the deposit, who cleaned the dishes? Was that the same person?
No, not at all.
No.
You go broke.
The owner of that restaurant may not even have been there.
Right.
That's a business owner.
And that's such a part of this company that I was so attracted to.
Yes, me too.
Where, there's misunderstanding, misperceptions at times, and I had those myself.
Me too.
Well, hey, wait a second. I want to talk to the list agent. I don't want to talk to the second agent on that document. That it's like, well, now I know, oh, that agent is actually closing 250 transactions this year, and their full-time role is to create more opportunity for their agents and to coach and to consult and run an organization that's, for example, not even just in Spokane. The opportunity is huge. And yet, thinking of this individual, they go to Hawaii a couple weeks out of the year, and their team runs everything to where their business grows. And what that actually does is it creates an opportunity for someone to operate in their giftings. Right. So if you're a buyer's agent, for example, maybe that's what you really love to do, or it's your step into the business and you learn. So some of our top producing individual agents actually start out on a team, let's say, right? So what it does is it creates opportunity for people to operate in so many different ways. And a lot of times, right, where there's misunderstanding or lack of clarity, there's a sense that sometimes it's challenging for people on the other end. And the reality is it's actually an incredibly powerful system and model. And those things that can be learned within that size, you can actually whittle down to, an individual agent as well on how to run a business.
Well, and a lot of the natural default that people go to is if I don't understand it or it's different, it's wrong. It's not good. And, really? Or do you just not understand it and maybe you should seek to understand?
Well, and I'm going to go just add one thing on
Yeah.
to what you're saying is sometimes I hear other things about other brokerages and they automatically, and I'm like, I never listen because it's like, to me, I'm not looking to switch over to a different broker. But if I was, then I'd kind of be taking that information and going, okay, I want to know my own stuff. I want to go in and I want to learn my own stuff. I
Sure.
want to talk to somebody that knows. I want to know really. But I hear a lot of just kind of, I don't want to say like throwing mud up against the wall about
Yep.
other places, but I'll hear other agents going, oh, that place over there. Rrr. And I'm like, really? Like, I'm not there and I'm not looking, but if I was, I would want to do my due diligence,
Right, and that's
because
what I
it's
did.
my business and not hearing anybody else. And I just think, just stop listening to that kind of stuff. That's
Yeah.
my personal thought. That's how I operate.
Well,
Go ahead.
can I tag into that?
I'd love
I
to.
think
Yeah,
that
love
that
to
is
too.
something that a lot of people have told the Keller Williams story for Keller Williams a lot. I mean, I have appointments with agents from other places on a very regular basis, and the things I hear that other people, oh, you guys have a $500 a month fee to be at Keller Williams. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
It's $40 a month, right? And so I think it's just interesting because there's just such a value to depending whatever brokerage you're at. Like, we all play in the same sandbox. Like,
Sure.
let's just learn from each other and grow from what we each do, and let's just not be in that game of the mud throwing. I think,
I'm going to just kind of share a little bit. Keller Williams is my first brokerage that when I jumped from my other industry into this industry, to me that was pretty huge, and it was a big step. So I wanted to make sure that I interviewed 4 places.
Good.
And Keller Williams was the only one that actually said, do you want to talk to a couple other agents? Because why don't you hear from other people what their thoughts are? And now you might not ask me the right question, or maybe you don't feel comfortable, but ask some of the other agents on anything you want, because they're going to be an open book.
Sure.
And the one thing that someone said was, you and I are not in competition at all. We're not. We're just here to share and learn, and we all grow together. And I remember thinking that philosophy was so great, because if I needed something, that person, every door is always open in Keller Williams. You know, I role play with Brandon Marchand, and I mean, he is amazing. He runs Spokane Home Guy, giving him a little plug right now, because he takes time aside for people that want to learn and grow. I role play once a week. You don't have to role play. That's something I choose to do. Keller Williams is not going to make me role play.
Right.
Nobody does, but I choose because I want to get my tools sharpened and my
Right.
tool belt out there. He does it on his own. So everyone has something to somewhat offer, you know, other agents. And I don't know, I just wanted to add that on. I sound like I'm just like, Keller Williams, but I do, because I look at, if I'm going to run my business, I don't want to be going down the hall and doors are shut and nobody wants to, because we need to work together to grow.
Which is how it often is that way with other firms.
And that's what I got the feeling
Right.
interviewing other brokerages. I felt that. I felt like there was going to be competition in that building, and Keller Williams was the only one that didn't feel like that when I was talking to other agents. And even during the interview, talking to another agent, and they shared like, hey, I'll even give you like help you with my listing presentation and
Right.
a buyer presentation, because you probably don't know what to do. And I do that a lot now. I share that a lot with other agents that are new. Like, I don't care if you're going to do what I do, that's awesome. Let's just grow together. And
Well,
be
that's our
awesome.
culture.
Yeah.
The more you give, the more you get. It's just our culture.
That's exactly it. So going into just where you're standing, I mean, where are you right now? Like, Rick, where are you right now with growing? Because we're in 2020. It's a new decade. And
Right.
Keller Williams is transitioning into something completely different. I mean, we're real estate, but we're also
Right. Well,
technology.
Gary Keller came out a few years ago and said, we're a technology company, to which many in the industry thought he sounded crazy, right? And Gary said, well, you have to look stupid for a while before you win, essentially, right? And so what Keller Williams began doing, and this was really, I began watching this when I was at my old brokerage, seeing that, our real competition is not other local brokerages, brick and mortar. It's actually Amazon, and it's Zillow, and it's other
Redfin.
technology-based kind of push the agent out of the picture companies. And so what Gary said, he asked, so we have these masterminds locally, regionally, and nationally. So like Brandon Marchand and some of our other top agents get to go mastermind, right? Talk about business and growth with Gary Keller down in Austin. And he asked the question, he said, okay, if we were to double your cap today, so the max amount of dollar that you would pay to Keller Williams, how many of you would leave Keller Williams potentially? And a lot of those hands went up. He said, what if your technology provider, third-party technology company, doubled your fee? What if Zillow doubled the cost of your lead generation? Or what if Boomtown doubled the, right? Would you quit using that technology? No, they wouldn't. So what Gary realized in that moment was the industry is changing, right? And so he basically, as a privately owned company, which I love, especially now with the stock market tanking, right? Like we don't have to worry about that. As a company, they've invested over $1 billion into technology. Back to that, we're a tech company, right? So we have a platform much like Netflix now, where it's not just we're going to use this technology and bolt it to this, and nothing talks to each other. We actually have a consumer app, the agent app tied in with a platform we call Command, where you can do your marketing and you can do your communication with your clients. And it's incredible. But the reason that Gary did that is because he recognized while there's value a brokerage can and should bring, there's also technology that agents need to run their business. And so if we can net those two things together, it's an unstoppable formula. And that was really when I said, yep, I had this visual actually of like, I got to get on the battleship that's the biggest to fight the right, dare I say, enemy in the future of my clients and this industry's impact. Because if the human relationship is removed and it becomes purely transactional through technology, that's not going to work when the fridge disappears, right?
Right.
Like, how do you deal with that?
Loaded up the
Right?
fridge and it was supposed to be here. Exactly.
And at the end of the day, if enough people go for convenience over quality, it's game over.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's almost like a call to like, where's the place that's best going to support every agent in every brokerage? Because my bet is that within the next 5 years, the landscape is drastically different. And there's going to be a lot of our quote competitors who are suddenly saying, uh-oh,
right.
what's going on? And culture of abundance. Like, we're not enemies. Like, we're on the same team.
Right.
And so how do we win together? So we're operating in that mindset, and it's just interesting in the history of where we're at in real estate right now.
It is. I have to say, we just released the consumer app a few weeks back. Oh my gosh. I just sent it out to one of my brand new buyers. She's like, I love this. I mean, she was in control of like filters and finding the houses, just not, and I'm not saying her finding houses, I'm saying her filtering stuff, and she was drawing maps and she was doing all this. And then the great thing is she just looked all the way down below and said, oh, my mortgage payment is going to be roughly this. And she just felt like she was empowered. It was like this empowerment of that, not like that technology. And we're still learning it. It's still coming out more. So,
Well, but how cool is it? And this is some of the stuff that blows me away is when your client is on the app, and of course it's syncing to your app and your desktop version of the program, the platform that's based on artificial intelligence. And then you get, as the licensee, you get something from your platform that says, hey, this client is 75.6% likely to buy a house in the next 90 days based on their online behavior.
Right. Because it's seeing that behavior.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
What other platform, what other company comes close to offering something like that? And what stands out to me is the platform that we're talking about and that Rick talked about, we own. We're not paying a third party for something that isn't really comparable. Think about it. If we are paying a third party for something to help us compete, I mean, think of it as
we're
like,
not in control of that
think
because
of it
the
as
third
like
party
rent.
is. Yeah.
Right.
Does your rent stay the same? Are you in control of that?
No.
Or is the landlord in control of that?
Right.
And is the landlord going to also offer that to other tenants, not just you?
Right.
I mean, that is not a winning combination there.
Right.
We own it. We control it. It's ours.
Well, and tying a couple things in there. One, I love the commitment that it's your data. So if you were ever to leave Keller Williams, it literally locks down. So like no one can access it. It's not like we get to then play with your clients and try to steal them from you. Like it's yours and, and it's
right
gone,
thing to do.
right? It is. It's integrity. And when it comes to the expectation that a consumer has around technology, right? Like you're talking about the app where it's neighborhood based. You have your free zero origination mortgage tied into it that you can click and it's right there, or Keller Covered where it compares top insurance companies. You can see right there what the cost would be. Like consumers demand that in anything. And so to be able to kind of be at the forefront of that value is super exciting.
And be connected to it, like the forefront, but we're connected to it. They're sometimes late at night doing stuff. They want those answers immediately. They're getting those answers immediately.
Right.
And so, and this is just part of being part of Keller Williams. We get access to this. This is just something like being part of Keller Williams. We get to use it. We're using it.
Right. And we have to do a show using that TV.
Yeah, we will.
Showing
will.
this technology platform.
We will. We will. That hold.
Sorry, I'm getting excited.
I know, because that was the big thing. But I love where we're going in for 2020. I like the direction that this has, and for you guys to be, just the leaders. And I was like, you guys are leaders, but you guys are really empowering others as we go through. I love that word empowering because really in this industry, we as agents empower our buyers and our sellers we're letting them, drive their bus. We're empowering them to do that. You as leaders in our company are empowering us, which is wonderful. Steve Freeman, hands down, another plug for him. He is our managing broker and he's constantly always door open. Hey, what do you need? What's going on? Come on in.
Right.
Phone on, ready to go. So
another big difference that I think is really worth mentioning is, we talk about brand. A lot of brands anywhere, but with real estate, come here because our value proposition is everybody knows our brand, and so you're going to get business from that, and people are going to work with us because they recognize our brand. And I love our position on that. You're the brand, not the firm. Right. So I'll talk to other agents. And they'll say, well, I'm with a big brand because, the brand, people know the brand. Well, so what you're telling me then is if you leave brand A and you come to, let's say, Keller Williams, your clients are going to stay with brand A and not follow you. Well, no, Ken, they're going to follow me. Exactly. You're the brand. And to one up that, we allow you to file and register an assumed name. ABC Real Estate or the best realtor in America, whatever that name is, you create your brand. We allow you to market under that brand, not the firm, not Keller Williams. So that is key because you don't see that very often because that doesn't perpetuate the firm. And the firms want, their brand perpetuated. We want you to perpetuate your brand.
So we're talking about empowering again.
Empowering.
Right.
No, but I love that. Yeah, it's just you are running your own business. This is something you chose. This is your industry that you chose to be in. Just like the going to the restaurant, you're not that one. You've got to create your support system. And that's what we get to do in Keller Williams. Individual agents, teams, whatever that is, we're creating our business so we can flow through the process, have time with family, all of that great stuff. We've got a few more minutes, so I want to anything that you want to add to the end that you feel that the number one thing coming out of Keller Williams that you just want to get to that mountaintop and shout?
Yeah, I love that question. I would say, one of the lines that I've heard in this company numerous times is there's too many agents out there who are actually, let's say, $30 million producers disguised as $10 million producers. $5 million producers, right, that are actually $20 million producers, but they don't have, they're thinking of their next deal, or they're thinking of the cheapest brokerage, or they're thinking of the brand that has to perpetuate their business when it's your business. And here's this massive arsenal of tools and opportunity for you to plug into that help you think and act bigger. It's just think bigger. We have this giant sticker on our wall in our training room, think bigger, and to actually have a skeletal structure to be able to build upon so you can do more in less time. And that's what's so cool is when someone like myself and others are like, I just need more time. Some people it's more money, but what you find is when you introduce the systems that we have, you actually get both. And it's so empowering to see agents not just thinking about how they're going to get their next deal, but to think about how they're going to hire their first administrative assistant or to think of how they're going to hit not 10 million but 15 million next year, not because they want to hit a bigger number, but because it means they get to buy their first investment property, right? It's just helping people grow and think way bigger than just, I'm going to sell 10 houses this year. I'm
And
going
we
to sell
have
30.
systems for all of that
All
you
of
just
it.
said, which I love.
All of it.
Thank you, Rick. Number one.
And a coach.
And
We
a
have
coach.
people who
Yes, coach.
too.
Yeah, there's coaches, which is amazing. Number one thing.
I can't top that, but what I think of is a couple years ago, number one broker at another firm joined us, and their goal was 100 transactions. And when they were exposed to our firm and our models and systems and what you could do here, he thought, what am I doing 100? My goal is 300. And he is now almost doubling that. So that's the power of
Wow.
getting outside your box, your comfort level. I mean, what's the sustainability? Like when I was a commercial guy chasing deal after deal after deal, where does it end? When I stroke
Right.
out and
Yeah,
I
stroke out, not
I
good
hit the
thing.
floor,
Yeah.
right? So to be able to build something and leverage it where then you can not even be in Spokane anymore, but your team is here making money. Maybe you're doing something else,
Well,
but your team is here making money.
that gentleman is actually traveling the world right now.
Actually, you're,
Like,
that's funny.
so
Well, great. that's
there you go.
another show.
It's
Well, isn't that
traveling the
wonderful?
world.
And that's a
And-
business owner. He is overseas, has been overseas for weeks.
his business is still
his
running.
business is
Still
still
running.
booming. That's a business owner.
And that's the stuff that we teach. Those are the
Yes.
systems and the models. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching Real Estate Talks. We're so excited that you took some time and to listen to this great conversation. Why Keller Williams? Thank you, Rick Flann. Thank you, Ken Sachs. I'm Tanya Tyler. Make sure you check out Keller Williams if you're interested. Thanks.
Thanks for watching. Ask the host a question, recommend a guest, or check out any of our other programs on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Sponsored by Keller Williams, Spokane.